Ave Maria. Hello, everyone. I'm Zeos Pantera, the host of In-Ear Fetish, and this is the MagicOne from AFUL. AFUL. That was either a mistake or the greatest marketing decision of their lives, because you're gonna remember it. And I had a hand in naming this because I got to hear this IEM. Hold on, Ave Maria still from specifically the Ave Maria Christina England version from Hitman. I got to hear this in London at Canjam, UK. And they asked me what I thought about it because they weren't done with it. And I went, holy shit, that's magic. And they're like, oh, and then they had a list of names, and then that one ended up getting picked. This is a single balanced armature IEM. And this isn't the first single balanced armature. There's been a couple of them. And it's just like if you've not seen, Klipsch has a very, very, very expensive and fancy true wireless that uses a single balanced armature. And the thing about a balanced armature is usually in an IEM, you'll get, in fact, I looked up the Alpha Performer 5, and that is a single dynamic and 4 balanced armatures. And the dynamic does the low end, and the balanced armatures are usually divided up into, well, this balanced armature does mid-range, and this balanced armature does highs, and this balanced armature is for super highs. And maybe if you have like a full, like the A8 is like nothing but balanced armatures, or like the sounds that I did is just like 8 balanced armatures, and they all are specifically for regions of the frequency. There are no full range balanced armatures, really. Or there are, but this one is specifically created by AFUL. This is their specifically full range BA. And I've got a flavor that I like in IEMs. You're watching this channel, if it's your first video, hi. Flavors. I like a single dynamic more than almost any other, no matter how many things you throw in it, no matter how much the Thaudio Prestige with 19 drivers. There's just something that's so gratifying about having just 2 drivers, one in each ear, and they just does the entire frequency range because it's just smooth and natural. They don't have to have crossovers and mixes and everything. It just is. So what the fuck happens when you make a single BA a full range and then do the shit that they've done to, I'll take them out of my ears in a second, but it's way easier to see it on the webpage. If I scroll down, where is the images I saw? There. Enhance. All right. Tip, hole, or tube. There's your BA. And then on the back side of the BA, for tuning purposes, there is an extremely long, what do they call it? They call it the acoustic maze of Nautilus structure that goes up and down and up and down and up and down. And then this, if you could just make out this cube, there is a literal, it looks like a fucking piece of gum inside the unit, but it's actually just a hollow. And that hollow is vented out the bottom. So it's like the backside of the BA enters into this giant fucking acoustic chamber, and then there's this port to tune it that vents out the bottom. That is so much effort to tune mechanically a single balanced armature. And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen, unenhanced. There is also the whole thing that AFUL is known for is they put crossover boards. The AFUL Performer 5 had literally a green board with all the crossover components to divide the frequencies up like a speaker would have. Well, there's one of those in here as well that is feeding the driver. So they're doing a frequency response tweak on the input. Then you have the new advanced singular BA. Then you have the acoustic structure to tune it farther. And really, the name MagicOne is the only name that they could have picked for this because I don't fucking believe it. It doesn't even feel real. I don't want to change songs. I want Ave Maria to continue playing. Because if I told you there's an IEM with just a single BA, you're going to be like, it's going to be And this is not This is This has space and cohesion, and it lacks a little bit of low end. I am swapping tips on it. I ended up with my rendered tips on it because, if you don't know, I have collaboration tips. All my collabs now linked in a single link tree, by the way, in the description. I'm forcing Future Zeos to create that link tree today, you idiot, so that he could have just, here's all my collaborations. And one of the collaborations is these tips, which are the silicone wrapped foam. So they give you a really good seal and they're nice and soft. They warm, when your ear warms it up, it's nice and soft and it fits beautifully. So the better the seal with this, and you could see all the shit going on. There's all the crossover components all soldered together in a cluster. There's your acoustic chamber. There's your squiggly line that leads to a little vent down here. And somewhere in there it is. There's your little BA. To have that little thing, which, by the way, BAs do not require break-in. That's one of the things I learned from actually studying. Because a moving actual driver like that, anything that's a dynamic, will flex until it is relaxed. And that's the way it's going to be for years. But when it first starts, it's stiff. I actually do believe in burning. I keep a burner rig going. You know, everything that's sitting in it for a week or 2 weeks doesn't fucking matter. As long as it's running, I feel like it'll be fine when I'm done. But a BA doesn't need that because it doesn't physically change, because it's more like a circuitry component than a moving thing. And the fact that this goes on my ears and can do the things, I'm putting it back on my head, by the way, but let's take a look at them first, I guess. The fact that something this small and pretty, by the way, I love that they've put like this silver, I don't know, weird ninjutsu star pattern on the back of it. And then it's all clear, because they're not stupid. They want to show this off. If anything could have an LED in it to show it off, this would be the thing I'd want to have, an RGB LED in it, just to show off the acoustic spaces and things that are happening inside of it. So small, super duper light, and I think cheap. I think, because here's the thing, I just went back and forth because Hi-Fi Go sent this to me, and they're the ones that asked me, hey, what should we call this? What should we advise them to call it? How do you want to how do you think they should market it? And I'm like, because it's not a collaboration. It was just like, I was there to hear it and go, wow. And they never told me the price. And since I'm reviewing it before the release date, it is currently on here for $1,000, which is the price they set when they're like not going to sell it, but they're not going to release it yet, and they're not telling you the price, which gets fucky when things are actually $1,000 or close to it. They should make it like $1 million, and that would be better. So I don't know what these cost, but the Performer 5s with a dynamic and 4 BAs cost $200. So how much do you think, and this is actually a question for my brain too, how much do I think they could charge for this? Honestly, they should charge $100. At least $100, because it's not about, oh, they're using less components, Zeos. This is the first of a driver, the first of a whatever the fuck a Nautilus structure is. This is a lot of firsts. In IEMs, that's rare. I've done quite a number of them, and it's usually pretty similar things. Maybe they mix it up a little bit. The Alpha Performer 5 was like the first one to have, you know, a full crossover network that you could actually see the components of it. And then the 8 came out, blew away the 5, and I'm like, well, that's that. But now we've gone a wholly different direction. Instead of more and bigger and more and bigger and more and bigger, we've gone to smaller, lighter, simpler. I would say if they charged $150 for this, that would put it kind of really close to the Performer 5. Zeos, wouldn't you just get the Performer? I like this more than Performer 5. That's why it's called the MagicOne. That's why the Magic Wand, picture unrelated, but that's why the Magic Wand, because this does things to sound I like more than the Performer 5 had. And the Performer 5 was fucking amazing IEM until the 8, and the 8 was just more money. But this simplifies it down to this cohesive sound, just like a single dynamic. Just like the thing I love the most, like the Soft Ears Twilight, $1,000 single dynamic. See, yes, it's just a single driver. Why would you need to spend $1,000 in that? Try a Soft Ears Twilight and tell me you could find that sound with a single dynamic in anything else further down. You can't. This tech, if this tech takes off, I can't, I mean, they can't charge more than a few $100s. If they bulked up all the, because you literally get the case, the awful case, You get awful tips, although I'm not sure if those are not just generic tips. I'm not saying awful like awful. I'm saying awful like awful. You get awful tips, which are silicone. I would honestly go with, if you're not willing to participate in my collaboration tips, Taconi foams will work. Any like solid, really well sealing tips. Honestly, tips are something that are personal to every person. I just have a fuckload of them that I need to test with. And whichever one I find I like best goes. But the wire itself is a 3.5 millimeter. Not terrible. I really do enjoy the 4-wire weave. It's silver and gray. However, it is a 3.5 millimeter. And these, one other thing I got to mention, they require a little more go than more other IEMs, because you literally are pushing a single BA to do everything. And you're working out this fucking massive chamber. So I'm finding even on the P2 here, the VMV, or the Dart, I've got it at, well, negative 36 isn't bad, but 43 on this is rather high for where it can end up. For IEMs, I was just plugging in other IEMs, and then I came to these, I'm like, everything needs about 10, 12% more. It just needs a little more, it needs a little more to get underneath it. Also, I should talk about how different amps respond, because this is a weird scenario where, you know, a single dynamic, plug it into a tube, all of a sudden you've got a tube amped IEM. This is not that straightforward, because while these three are solid state and this is a hybrid, I find a huge difference in the way it delivers some of the sound. The Earman being probably the most neutral one here, like the least colored. And I'm going to say don't prefer, but the goddamn thing sounds, all right, we got to get to the actual sound. Because I've discussed the technology, I've discussed the price. Under 150 is a fucking buy. If this thing comes out at like 80 bucks, this will be the only recommendation at 80, even though we've got so many good IEMs at 80 now. Jesus Christ. I think Aria 2 is coming out also. Oh, I wanted to mention that my Chimera cable will fit on this because it uses a flush mount 2-pin. The Chimera cable has a flush mount 2-pin like this as well. I don't like this style of connector because usually there's other IEMs that have like a deep recess. But if you can and want to do, that's why I mentioned it, because a little more power, a little more balance would be great. I'm just leaving this on for the review because nothing on here gives a shit. I just turn the volume up more. How does it sound, Zeos? Because the technology and all that shit is irrelevant. The way I like to test things, that I couldn't with this particular pair, but at least I don't know the price, but the way I like to test things is to not know anything about it. Oh, you got an IEM? I don't care who made it. I don't care who designed it. I don't care what technology it uses. I don't care what architecture it uses. Put tips I know and fit in my ears on. Play music. The end. I will judge based on that. And judging based on that, these have a softness and a width to them that can only be described as natural. And that's weird considering all the shit I just explained to make the sound happen. Usually when someone talks about, oh, that's natural, it's very simple. This is the most complicated way they've produced sound ever. Awful. Because usually it's just throw a bunch of stuff in there and divide it up. Now they're going one, just one. I changed tracks, hold on. The imaging is just like, that tube doesn't do things that are like weird and like, oh, it sounds fucking weird, like Nighthawks or something. It just sounds spacious, natural. There's enough low end that it just pounds the ground a little bit. Just, Vocals, vocal clarity is fucking spectacular. Hannah Hunt from Vampire Weekend. It's just so smooth. This is a smooth, relaxed, wide sound. That's my sound. Da, 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 da. All right. Otis Taylor, which is just string instruments and vocals. That's max, by the way, on low gain on this. Wow, that's loud, but Jesus, this is an exciting... You turn the volume up and it gets exciting and it starts like getting into your brain. The imaging is just holographic imaging. We want to talk about DAX cause holographic imaging. Well, maybe they're right because this is the D2R, which is the... What's the thing that I really liked in the X2O? That new DAC technology that's only around a little bit is in there. So maybe that's what's translating it, but holy fuck. This does not sound like this is not a downgrade from anything Awful makes. This is a side grade at worst. And maybe just like a sign of improvement. Like when Tesla came out with like the fucking what is the model of the Tesla? Model 100? Because it was the old car that like Top Gear shit on it wrongly. And then there was like, well, that's, yeah. But then they came out with this new thing that's just going to fucking skyrocket to the moon. This is like the base model of that. I kind of want to know what they're going to do with this in the future. Can they make a $500 version of this? Because the things I'm hearing, the way it's positioning sound, it's literally magic. I don't understand how it's doing that. Weird Al, Christmas at Ground Zero is just like this remarkable staged fucking sound field that I'm standing in, and things are exploding. And you know what? I didn't even test. Let me test one thing, because I have the one thing I didn't get to do is game on them, and I have saved. Where is it? Excuse me, miss. Persona 5, no. Cutie Honey sound effects, no. It's 14 minutes long, I think. Sugar Ross. Apex Twin. Where the hell is it? Floating Point Silhouettes. Oh, here you go. All right, Realistic War Sounds. This is a recording. This is a rip from YouTube of Squad Realistic War Sounds. Squad is a first-person shooter military sim and has amazing sound engine. This is just a rip from YouTube of someone just sitting in game while things are just happening. I didn't even consider how this would translate for game. In fact, you know what? I've been looking for a reason on the main channel to kick off my Game Fidelity 2024 video, because that's coming up. 2024 is game in these. They're just so fast, because that's another thing about a BA versus everything else. Even though we're talking about dynamics that are that big, there's a speed factor involved where a BA is so small, because this is a little thing, and there's an even littler thing. See that little tiny thing? And inside that thing is an even littler thing, and that thing is making the sound. And the faster that thing can go from here to here, or whatever the hell it is, to make the sound, the faster. It's hard to describe speed in sound. It's talked about a lot, and a lot of times, like fucking Abyss headphones. For all their tuning issues and like whether you like them or don't like them for the lack of they're fast. Stacks are fast. The drivers weigh nothing. They're electrostatic. They just go from where they need to be to where they need to be to where they need to be in hundreds of a millisecond. There you go. Do that with a single BA that is full range. And all the sound delivery, there's no decay. There's no like, well, the driver did this and now it's got to do this. So it has to transition. It's just instant. It's just feeding that information into your brain and doing it in a way that is fucking lovely. So I could listen to war sounds or fucking, acoustic guitar or 80s rock classics. And it's just delivered to you through this MagicOne thing. Full fucking recommendation. This is a 10 out of 10. I do the rating system. I don't take it seriously. Like I don't keep a chart, but every once in a while people can go down to the description. There's like 0 to 10. If this is, well, I can put it as a 9 until I know the price. Under $150, 10 out of 10. Under $100, 10.5 out of 10. It's so simple. I'm hoping that they're charging like the simple price for it. But at the same time, this is like Ryan at Modhouse making the Tungsten. He only charged $1,500. Only charged $1,500. That headphone is a gigantic leap in quality past rivals at that price point. He should be charging $2,000 or $3,000. This, the way it sounds, might fuck Awful up in the future for trying to sell more expensive IEMs. Because it's so good. It does everything I want. Anyway, wallpaper in the wallpaper hoard. mouse pad. I just got this one. This one's cool looking. In the description, if you want to click it, this is Trust Your Hands in 1981 Mixed Martial. Yeah, links to things and support on Patreon and Subscribestar. And 11/11 sales are happening right now. Hi-Fi Go and Lens, all of them have 11/11 sales. It's this big holiday. So these will be on sale. And you can probably, you know what? Maybe they'll be on sale. I doubt a brand new thing will be on sale, but there's so much other stuff. So go check out Hi-Fi Go, all the 11/11 sales. Check out the wallpapers. Check out the rest of the videos on this channel. Check out the main channel. And I'll see you all when I recover from these.